Trey Radcliff came to Brisbane recently to take a walk with his camera and a few new friends, many who follow his travels via social media, especially Google+. He shares some tips on his passion, which is HDR or high definition resolution photography. Some of this is also talking about his equipment he uses, including cameras. This was only the initial meeting, and many benefit from his insights afterwards.
Yeah, 3, 1, 2, 3. Is that good? All right. But I'm super excited to be here. I love Australian photographers. There's something about you guys. You're like so full of life, and it's awesome. So I'm always inspired, and I get a lot of good mojo. And this is my first time ever to Brisbane, so I'm super excited. I'm honored that you guys would all take time to spend with me and help show me around, and it's going to be great. So as we walk around today, I'm sorry I only got to meet a few people beforehand. My driver was a little tardy. We're stuck. But we're going to have a great time. Come up to me and say hello. I'm very nice. Don't be intimidated or anything. You could ask me any question, like a beginner kind of question or an advanced kind of question. I like all kinds of questions. I'm happy to help. So what we'll do tonight is we'll be together for many hours, and we're going to walk around the city a little bit, get some daytime, evening, night shooting in, and I'll be setting up in several locations. I don't know where or what will inspire me, but when I do set up, I'll just set up my situation and I'll talk through all my settings, and you guys can look through my lens or whatever, ask me questions. So we'll stay in these locations for maybe 10 or 15 minutes and then move to the next location. But you should feel no need to stay with the whole group. If you see something interesting, go off and shoot it on your own and then come back to the group later on. This is a very free-form, easy-going situation, all right? And I find that a lot of people that come to photo walks, it's also their first time at a photo walk. So if you are looking around and you see other people with big cameras or whatever, don't be intimidated, because chances are that most people here is their first time also doing this. And I also hope this is a great chance for you to make new friends and meet new people. Sometimes my side goal for these things is sometimes before them, there's like this many to one relationship where you guys all kind of know me, but you may not know each other. But I hope that when I leave that you guys have this many to many relationship and you guys all get to know each other. Because half of it is here while we're walking around with our human bodies. The other half is when we get back home, back to the comfort of the internet, and we can process our photos and share. So be sure to share photos to the Google Plus event. The hashtag, if you're going to also share other places, is #BrisWalk13. And that'll be a great way for us to all look at each other's photos, because I'm constantly fascinated by how many things other people see that I didn't even see. I feel like every year I do photography, I am able to expand my area of perception, like a few more meters or a few more angles. I love this idea of walking down a street and trying to imagine every interesting possible angle or composition. It's a really fun challenge. And if you're into photography, maybe you know what I mean. Every year you're slowly getting better at it. And so when I do these photo walks, I'm always humbled, because other people, beginners all the way to advanced, they see things that I didn't even see, even though I was walking down the same road as everybody else. So it's a really fun way for us all to learn and share together. And I think that's kind of the state where we all are on the internet. This is sort of a brave new world of photography. I mean, obviously you guys have the bug, otherwise you wouldn't be here. But it's this idea that we can all go out where we spend so much time alone on the internet, don't we? We're just like alone in dark rooms watching a computer screen. And the idea that there's other people that are also alone, it makes you feel not so alone anymore. So I think it's really awesome. And plus the idea that we can all learn and share and get better together. You realize that this isn't a zero-sum game, that we're all just creating. We're creating things, we're creating happiness, and the more we all put into it, the more everything is better for everybody. So this is a tremendous realization that we're all going through, and I thank you so much for being part of it. Everyone always wants to know about my camera and my setup, so this is a good opportunity to tell everybody, okay? So I'm now shooting with a Sony NEX. I shoot with the Sony NEX7, although I also have a Sony NEX6. And no, I'm not sponsored by Sony. Maybe someday. But I love this camera. So I used to have these big DSLRs, right? I had a big Nikon, I had a D3X, I had a D800, I had all that stuff. And they're great cameras. But I totally love this thing. It's 6 times smaller than the D800. It's 8 times smaller than the D4. The only disadvantage is that it has a smaller sensor. So it has an APS-C sensor, which I have not found to be a problem at all, except in one situation. The only situation where this falls apart is handheld in very low light. Okay, the big full frames are still better for that, absolutely. But since I do so much landscape architecture shooting, and I'm often on a tripod, I don't mind the smaller sensor. It's still 24 megapixels, which is quite a bit. These lenses are great. This is one of my favorite lenses. This is the 10 to 18 millimeter lens. And because it's on a crop sensor, you have to multiply that by 1.5. Sorry to get all nerdy, but it comes out to be 15 millimeters to 27 millimeters, which is plenty wide for like epic landscapes or architecture or that sort of thing. And I have all this stuff listed on my website if you want to see more. So I totally love this camera. I feel like I can do anything I want to with it. It's the only camera I took to Burning Man. I don't even carry my Nikon anymore as a backup. My backup is another NEX6. And I have no inside information, but I heard that there is maybe something coming in October. Maybe there's a lot of rumors around another NEX system. So I may switch again someday, but I think life is too short not to use like the best stuff. And I think this is currently the best thing out there, at least for me and my style of shooting. And I also have been shooting a little bit with this is called Google Glass. I know some of you like totally know what it is. Other people are like, what is that thing on his head? So this is called Google Glass, and it's a whole computer that's up there, all right? And so it does everything that my mobile phone does, like email, YouTube videos, surfing the web. It has these cool maps that are kind of 3D overlay, and it basically projects right onto my retina. So I'm always getting incoming data. But besides all the basic stuff that my cell phone does, it also has this really kind of weird machine-human interface layer where I can ask Google anything, anytime. Like, for example, a few weeks ago, I was driving by Tiananmen Square, and there was a flag up that I didn't recognize. It wasn't the Chinese flag, I know that one. It was another flag, and so I just held down on the side for a second, and then I said, okay, Google, I asked it this question, this malformed question, very human question. I said, what flag is it that has an orange lion on a red background with an orange stripe and a green stripe? And immediately it came back and said, that's the flag of Sri Lanka. And it brought up the Wikipedia page for Sri Lanka. So I'm still getting used to this idea that I could just ask Google anything, anytime that I wonder about. And it's nice because I don't actually have to know anything. I can just walk around, just ask Google what's going on. And so it's a really kind of cool thing that's changed my life. I'm able to record videos, take photos. I can do live broadcast to YouTube, even though I'm not allowed to do that yet. but I think it's going to be really cool when we're all connected with this kind of stuff. It's coming. We've actually just launched, that's not true, I shouldn't have said that, but there's something called the Arcanum, okay? Actually, this is the first place that I'm even mentioning it, thearcanum.com. But it's very secret, it's very stealthy, but it's based on this idea that we're all getting more and more connected, and we're all able to share and learn together at the same time. So this is a really exciting time to be a photographer and to communicate, because I think that all these tools and taking photos helps us to communicate more together and be even more human. So I like exploring this from a very human communication aspect. All right. Okay, so we'll start the photo walk right after Isabella. There you go. Isabella and Scarlett. Isabella's 7 and Scarlett is 4. I call them search and destroy. Okay. What else?